Welcome in, second cousins. I am Kyle. I'm happy to be joined again by Seven, and we are here to discuss the recent Jeff Weltman postseason, not postseason, not in playoffs because we're out of those, but after the season interview. And just like a little note here, I am using OBS, moving from a different platform, so this is all new. So apologies if the video or sound quality go down for a little bit as I learn the software, but then they're going to get all good in just a little bit. Seven and I talked about how we wanted to go through this. We're still not really sure. Cedric, I just want to talk about some things that I agreed with and that I disagreed with, or that made me upset from the Jeff Weltman interview. Out of the gate, I have to start with the fact that he led with, "We learned a lot this year." It made me want to jump through my TV screen and fight that man, because we knew everything that we know now. We knew, and we were talking about in the offseason last summer. Jeff,
right?
Really, Jeff? So in 23-24, we were 29th in the league in three-point attempts and 24th in three-point percentage. And this year, we're 23rd in three-point attempts and 30th in three-point percentage. Guess what? We can't shoot, Jeff. We knew that. We didn't learn anything there. I'm not really sure what he's talking about, Cedric, when he says we learned a lot. Like, what did they learn? He wasn't really specific about that.
I have no idea, because I was trying to figure out the same thing. I was like, let me recap the season and see maybe what I can see what he's talking about. Like, but I don't know what he was talking about.
Yeah, is it just like Jalen Suggs is not the point guard? Is that the sad learning that we had, I guess?
I mean, I think that's, again, something that we was talking about in all season. Like, can he really be the point guard?
I think I was drinking a little bit of Kool-Aid before the season. I was like, all right, let's give him one more shot. Maybe he's learned something, not being the point guard in the last year or two from that freshman year where that's what his job was, and it wasn't great, but it still wasn't great. So, yeah.
Man, listen, I have no idea. I wish I knew like what was in his mind, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And be like, Jeff, what is it? Explain it to us, what exactly you learned, because we're not seeing it.
Yeah.
At all.
I mean, he said that we had the earned battle scars was one of the things he talked about, how it was good growth for the team this year. And I kind of agreed with that, right? It's really hard to win in the NBA, and young teams often, especially when they get into the playoffs, they just got to take their lumps. They got to get beat. They've got to learn what it is. What's the intensity level? Like, what's the level of preparation I need? How, from a coach's standpoint, how short should my rotation be? These are the lessons that they need to learn to get over the hump when we get into the postseason in the years to come, knock on wood.
Right.
But again, did we learn that? No. And I think we still could have earned those battle scars while still having a better team around our two stars in Paulo and Franz.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, like what, like I was saying earlier, the whole interview upset me from start to finish, because I felt like the things that he said this season, it could have applied to last season. You could have learned all those same lessons you talked about last season. It's like you said, we wasn't shooting last season. We knew the guys that couldn't step up in the playoffs last season. And you thought like another season would help like make a change. Like, no, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. You learn, like you said, the battle scars. We went through a 7-game series with Cleveland. That's that's what it is. You know what I mean? And you've seen that, okay, we got Paolo. He's going to step up in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And the other guys didn't. Like, you know what I mean? Like they couldn't do anything if they weren't on their home court. Like, they disappeared in Cleveland. And it's like, all right, well, we need somebody else. And like KCP was like your prize signing, like the only one. Like we act like we was right there and we just needed one more piece. It's like, nah, man, we need a whole new team, basically. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
And it's the same thing this season.
Yeah. No, I agreed. I think where his thinking is, and he mentioned this quote later in the interview when he said, we have to think where our guys are in the trajectory of their career. And I get that, right? As a
Mhm.
fan, I'm using my fan brain a little bit, probably too much. And I'm thinking, man, like, let's go. Paulo's a star. Let's put it on. Let's turn it up to 10. Or if you're,
Yeah.
Spinal Tap, you can turn it up to 11. But it, we have to remember Franz is going into his fourth year. Paulo's now oh no, Paulo's going to his fourth year. Franz is just going to be starting his fifth year. Most of the time, these championship teams, their main guys are at least in their late 20s, sometimes early 30s in terms of the primes of their career. So I get it, and you didn't want to push too many chips in last season. So I can agree to disagree on that one, Jeff, but I'll meet you halfway. Something else that it was nice to hear though, finally, and I think you're probably the same as me on this, Seven, and many of you second cousins out there. He said that it's clear we need proven offensive help is what we're going to be looking for. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Give this man a round of applause. Yes. Proven offensive help is exactly what the doctor ordered. We've seen the defensive experiment as far as we can play it out, Jeff. We're the number 2 defense in the league, number 1 at times, and
Right.
we were holding teams under 100 points and we couldn't win the game. Shit, we were holding teams under 90 sometimes, couldn't win the fucking
Couldn't
game.
do it.
So, we've about played out the positional length defensive acumen experiment as far as it can go.
Right.
And it's nice to hear Weltman say he's looking for proven offensive help because he's shown himself to be great at drafting those types of dudes, those defense first, long, lanky dudes who can, do some things. But we need scores. We need some scores.
True. Very true. We definitely need scoring, obviously, because like you said, if your whole team under 90 points and still lose the game, you,
I don't
you
know
might
if
want to
that
invest in some
actually
scores.
happens, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, but I just hope in looking for scores, you don't lose like the whole identity of the team. Like I like that tough, hard nosed defensive identity. Like
Yeah.
we beating people up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just good to have. Give me an extra 20.
Yeah.
I'll take an extra 20 points.
Yeah. And I think that's what the thinking was with Kenny, right? Because
Yeah,
ideally he was going to give you some of both. He was keeping the identity of the team firmly intact as a guy who's been on all defensive teams before.
right.
And hopefully he was going to give you a little bit of stretch scoring. That's clearly not the point. That's clearly not what happened. So it is good to hear Jeff Weltman say we're going to be looking for this actively. Now, he was then asked a little bit later about the trade deadline. And his words at the trade deadline were something to the effect of that other teams were trying to squeeze the Magic for
Hmm.
what they looked at as 1-year rentals. Because apparently, and maybe we could get into that, I'm curious if you know second cousins, who were those players? If they were on expiring deals, that's what the Magic were looking for, which Weltman kind of admitted in this interview. Who were those players? Who were those players with like 1 year left on their contract that you think the Magic were looking for? Let us know in the comments. But in terms of talking about how we were squeezed at the trade deadline, he kind of walked that back in the interview and he said, maybe I misspoke. The whole nature of the league is to try to squeeze in negotiations. And that is the art of
Yeah, it was a moonwalk.
negotiation. What's that? Yeah.
It was a
Yeah,
moonwalk.
he did. He did. He did a little bit. But my question then is, Jeff, and others have brought this up in Magic social media. If other teams knew we were looking at the trade deadline for some shooting, some proven playmaking, is it going to be any different here this summer? Is my question. Especially, yeah. I mean, if certain guys are signed, I don't know. I don't know that that's going to change at all. So we might have to push in some chips here.
Yeah, I
And
don't think it is going to change. And I think he knows that, which is why he wanted the moonwalk on that and be like,
mm,
well, maybe I didn't exactly say that, or maybe you heard wrong, or I misspoke, but it's the nature of negotiation.
yeah,
Like, come on, bro. You already know the same thing happening at the trade deadline is going to be even worse in the off season.
Yeah, and maybe they're just more comfortable with moving some guys after having gone through the season that we just went through. I know that internal growth and development and continuity is super important in sport,
Right.
and Jeff Weltman has wanted to protect that almost as the sacred cow of this team. But now we've got to look at breaking that continuity up. I'm going to be extremely disappointed if I don't see 3 or 4 more new guys turn over on this roster at least.
Right.
And that wouldn't be super hard. I mean, you can like Gary Harris, I think, is on expiring. Caleb Houston, love you guy, like peace out. Kojo, as good as he was, that's someone that I wouldn't lose sleep at night if he just wasn't back on
Yeah.
the roster. There's all those guys that are already on options. I think the problem is that we also this year signed a lot of extensions. So the time has passed. The boat has sailed on the Orlando Magic, just having endless cap room to pick up guys and free to pick up guys that are going to be free agents, like Miles Turner, for example, for the Pacers. He's going
Yeah.
into free agency. You know that he's going to get a lot of money on the market. In previous years, the Magic could have said, "Yeah, 30 million, sure, whatever, like we can do it." That's not the
That's
case
nothing.
anymore, and especially
Right.
with these extensions now, which were concerning at the time. And it feels he kind of mentioned this when he was talking about how our team has kind of joined the rest of the league. Where it is, he says we've joined the rest of the league regarding our finances and flexibility. Most of the roster upgrades are going to have to come from swapping. So he's acknowledging right there that it's going to be trades. Um,
But I mean, the guy he act the way it sounded, act like that was a goal for him. Like we wanted to get there and join the rest of the league. It's like you took away your flexibility. Like, what do you know what I mean? For Wendell Carter and
yeah,
Cole and all that. Like you believed in, you know what I mean?
Jonathan
Like you
Isaac. Yeah,
said, as fans, like we love them, but like, come on, bro. Like they not the same.
yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna have one of my buddies who's currently taking his finals for law school right now and studies the salary cap stuff come on and talk with us about this because he'll be able to explain in more detail what's going on with the Orlando Magic cap situation. But
Gotcha.
yeah, I mean, if you don't extend Isaac and Wendell, don't you have a lot more flexibility moving forward? Cole was like a
Right.
year ago, so okay, I fine. But this season, you kind of knew what those guys were, and then to give those
Right.
extensions, didn't you? Like you said, you kind of locked yourself into this. Now we have to swap situation, as opposed to having a little bit more financial pool of finances that you could go grab and absorb a little bit more money. But maybe, and this is the only way that I can kind of justify it with my limited knowledge, is maybe they looked around
Yeah.
and they said, all right, Jonathan Isaac for this number is the best that we're going to do right now. And Wendell Carter Jr. for this number is the best that we can do right now. And so let's
Right.
lock those in almost as a way of locking in those contract numbers as opposed to the player. More like, okay, we want and it feels like this is more how this salary cap environment works. You've got like your 2 highest paid guys, and then you've got a few guys in the 20s, and then you got a few guys in the teen level contracts. And maybe they're just trying to get those puzzle pieces in order so that they can then put them together to go get whoever. And it's less about J.I. and Wendell and more about the number. I forget what it is going to be for like Wendell. It's like 18 and J.I. it's like 17. So now you got
Right.
$35 million right there. Boom. Who's that? And
Gotcha.
and I don't think J.I. and Wendell are so anemic or without hope in their game that another team might be like, all right, yeah, that could be a piece that is at least a starter for us for a little while, or definitely a rotation player. So if that was the thinking, I get it. I don't know. I'm not an expert.
But the JI deal, then it like the first year was like a crazy number, but it like doesn't it go down like significant like
It
the
does.
further it go the further out?
It does. So I guess the rationale on that was like, we'll give him a little pay bump while we do have some more money in the
Yeah.
roster, and then as it goes down, yeah, I have the contract right here. So next year it's 15 million, then 14 million, then 14 million, then all the way out to 28, 29. Jonathan Isaac for the next 4 years is an Orlando Magic or is under that contract, and he'll be making
Right.
$15 million a year at the end of it, which is only 6% of the salary cap. So
The
that's a decent contract. You're telling me you can have Jonathan Isaac hopefully loses some weight. That experiment didn't work. Coming in
yeah,
and doing something in the playoffs that can shift a game or two for 6% of your salary cap. That's actually a pretty good contract.
I can deal with that.
Yeah.
I can deal with that. And this is a new is it like a new CBA coming that's gonna raise the salary cap altogether, right?
Well, yeah, it's gonna. Well, yes. And so if you look at the every year incrementally, they're raising the salary cap. So even
Gotcha.
though the number is staying pretty static, like he's making $15 million next year and $15 million in 4 years. Next year it's 8% of the cap, and in 4 years it's only 6% because of that increase. Because they got the big TV deal, but instead of
Yeah.
dropping it on the league all at once, which is when we got Bismack Biyombo and gave him a shit ton of money because that happened way back when, and that's when we got Mozgov, right?
Man,
Just
don't remind me of that shit, man.
dude, that was the best time to be
Bismack
a basketball player.
Biyombo. Oh my God. Listen, man, that oh man.
Maybe
You
that's a
talking
good
about
reminder
nothing.
right now as we're talking about Jeff Weltman. It could be worse, Magic fans. Like, I
It
do
could
want to
always
give,
be worse.
yeah, I do want to give Weltman his props in terms of how he's built this team. Um,
Yeah,
this is a good core, but the critique is going to be, can he take the team to the next level? Can they make
right,
that next trade to push it over the top? Can they
right,
make that Drew Holiday trade like in Milwaukee that put them over the top? That's what we're looking for here.
right.
And we'll see. And even though Paulo and Franz are young, I'm not here with that. Like, they're young, but Paulo's showing himself to be a superstar. He's shown himself to be a
They
gamer in the playoffs. If he had 2, 3, 4 more guys with him that could do something, that's a different series. So
yep,
let's put everything around him right now that can make him win. And his words, Jeff Weltman's words, seem that he knows that too. And saying clearly we need to
got
get better offensively. Clearly we need to go out and get better shooting around the ball.
right. So speaking of taking it to the next level,
Mhm.
it's not really about Jeff Weltman, but like what do you feel about Coach Mose? You think he's the guy that could do that, or because I know a lot of fans on like social media been like dogging him out, but
Yeah.
I think he could do it.
I mean, dogging him out for what, guys? Like, you really think anyone else is going to, who else, what were the guys on this team, the pieces that he had to deal with? Is someone going to
Right.
unlock Caleb Houston? Like, is someone going to, maybe like Jet Howard, Anthony Black, were those guys not used? I love
Yeah.
Jamal Mosley as a leader. So I'm more in preference of, can we get a high level assistant for him, an offensive minded guy to come
Right.
and be with him. We had that in Nate Tibbetts, who was with Terry Stotts and Dame Lillard in Portland, and I felt like there was more stuff happening with the offense then. And since he's gone and been coaching in the WNBA, no one really stepped up to replace that void. So I would love to keep
Right.
going with Mosley. I feel like the guys are bought in. I feel like they'd run through a wall. Even in that tough series when we, got down in 2 games, there was no quit in them. They came back, they won the game. Like, those guys, they really respond to him. I think he's a tremendous leader. So I like to give him one more shot. If we bring in some other pieces this year, some proven offensive pieces, as Weltman says, and the result is kind of the same, and we're not seeing a lot of creativity, and we're still not scoring the ball up over 115 points a game, then it would tear my heart out. But I could hear it next offseason with a different roster, I think.
Right.
What about you?
I got you. I feel like he can be the guy.
Okay.
I feel like matter of fact, I feel like he is the guy, to be honest. Like just the way he turned his team around, even with the pieces he had earlier in his career, like when all the injuries happened that first year and we started like 5-25 or something, and we ended the season like right outside of the play-in. You know what I mean? Like that's a coach, that's leadership. Like you said, like the guys will do whatever they need to do for him. And he's gone, like his wins going up like what, 13,
Yeah.
12, 13 games every season since then,
Yeah.
except for this season with all the injuries and stuff. Like I just feel like if, like you said, if you give him the right pieces, he can get it done. If KCP would could have hit some of those shots. Like, you know what I mean? We
Yeah.
we we not in the play-in. Like
Yeah.
we're like 5 again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Maybe we can,
I feel like
if you like this video, Second Cousins, about us kind of breaking down the after season interview of Jeff Weltman, maybe Coach Mosley could be next because I haven't watched that one yet. I got to go back and watch all of them. But I know it's a long off season, and my heart is still raw, Cedric. I just can't yet.
oh man. I just want one more guy, man. Give me one more guy that can score the basketball.
Okay. All right. Well, let us
And
know
I'm
what
and
you
I'm
think,
I'm
Second
happy.
Cousins. Let us know what you think. What will make you happy? Seven says he just needs one more guy. I think I want to see a little bit more than that. But what? Let us know in the comments. And again, Seven, thanks so much for stopping by, man. It's a pleasure.
Anytime, man. You know I got you, son.
Peace out, everybody.
Go Magic.